But the Catholic Church goes very far to idolize Mary to an extent that they don't even teach Mary as a practitioner of Christ's teachings, but they just idolize Mary as a maternal parent, as a what can I call it? As a biological mother. So just being a biological mother to them makes Mary holy. But according to Christ, today I'm getting a question here from Nyeri, and the guy is asking, what do you think about the Catholic Church and their practices and doctrines? Are they good or are they perverted? So nice question, especially considering the Catholic Church being one of the most followed churches in Kenya. So what I would love to tell you is that the church or whatever should determine the quality of the church is how they, or is if their teachings go or are in accordance with the teachings of Christ. So if you want to know if let's say for example it's a religion or a Christian sect, a Christian church, so if you want to know if it's practicing the real doctrines or the right doctrines, then you must compare it with the founder of the Christianity religion. So because you've mentioned about the Catholic Church, one of the biggest pillars of Catholic Church is they love kind of idolizing Mary, and that's where they part ways with Christ. So especially when they start idolizing Mary, the mother of Jesus, in their prayers, so you find that they pray, they say Mary to pray for them to God, Mary the mother of God. So it revolves around Mary more than it revolves around Christ. But you see, the healing of a Christian religion comes from Christ. So any Christian or Christianity should revolve around Christ, and its teachings should be a reference of the words and the doctrines and the philosophies of Christ. So if you find that a religion or let's say for example if you're a Christian, if you find that your church or the branch of Christianity that you partake in, if you find that it diverts from the founder of the Christian religion, then you must be aware or you must be cautious, because that will be getting lost from the core essence of the teachings of the founder. So it's like you start going against the one who began the doctrine that you claim you follow. It will be confusion. It won't be a reference of the truth, or it won't be referring from the source. So one must be very, very cautious, especially when Christ taught very clearly and said that those who love him must practice his teachings, and one of his core teachings was to love your neighbor as yourself, and to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. So those two teachings, he even went further to claim that all the prophets and the teachers, they revolve around those two teachings, that you should love your neighbor as yourself, and you should love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. So most churches, as we see of these ages, and even in the times of Christ, those high priests, they've always been going astray from the core teaching of Christ. So if you find that, let's say for example, you've asked about the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church, if you find that it is idolizing Mary more than it is emphasizing on the teachings of Christ, then you should be aware and be awake and be cautious, because That's not the wish of the founder of Christianity, because the founder of Christianity, Christ, even went further to claim that there was an instance when he was teaching, and his mother and his brother came, and he was told that your brother and thy mother are outside waiting to talk to you. And he asked him, who are my brothers and my mother? And he pointed to the disciples and said, these are my brothers and my mothers and my sisters. So to him, to Christ, biology didn't really determine brotherhood or motherhood or sisterhood of Christ. So to him, those who practiced and followed his teachings and his doctrines were closer even to those who are his bloodline or his maternal parents. But the Catholic Church goes very far to idolize Mary, to an extent that they don't even teach Mary as a practitioner of Christ's teachings, but they just idolize Mary as a maternal parent, as a what can I call it? As a biological mother. So just being a biological mother to them makes Mary holy. But according to Christ, he put it as clear as daylight by telling them that my mother, my brother, and my siblings are those who do the will of my Father in heaven, or those who follow the teachings of the teaching that Christ gave them. So it was very clear. If you find a religion emphasizing on things that Christ didn't emphasize on, then you should be very, very cautious, because you might be treading on a very, very dangerous path. So I hope you've gotten me. Kutoka pale Nyeri manze, be careful, because it's very easy for a church or for a branch of Christianity to divert from the core teachings of Christ. So in fact, the best church should be repeating the words of Christ. The best church should be emphasizing on things that Christ emphasized on. If Christ didn't emphasize on people, let's say for example, if Christ didn't emphasize on people taking sacraments, my friend, if you emphasize on those things, then be very, very careful, because you are going astray, or you are going you are charting your path against your source. So the teaching of Christ were clear. In fact, his disciples also emphasized on loving your neighbor as yourself. Christ told them that the most important teaching or the most important teaching of all his teachings was love. And about love, he said that one should love his neighbor as himself. Another teaching he's talked about is loving the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your strength and with all your soul. And but another disciple of Jesus of Nazareth, or Christ, also said that you can't claim that you love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength, while you do not love your brother. So in fact, loving your brother or your neighbor should come first, even before claiming that you love God. So hope the answer is clear. The problem with Catholic is that they emphasize on Mary, and they make Mary as kind of a Christ on her own. But in the Bible, we are not. There are not enough instances where teachings of Mary go hand in hand with the teachings of Christ. So until next time, I'm out.